Right, so Daniel Hill, Simon Zutshi, 6 rounds. You can go
Indeed.
first.
So Dan, do you think entrepreneurs are born or can they be taught to be an entrepreneur?
Good question, all
Yeah.
right. I think definitely twofold. I think you develop as an entrepreneur and you get more established and you build your skills out.
Yeah.
But I've always been an entrepreneur. Literally, from the youngest day, I had all 3 paper rounds, and then I subbed them out to my friends who did the paper rounds for me when I was like 11, 12. So, and at school I played Pogs and Slammers, and then I'd win all the Pogs and Slammers, and I'd go to school with a briefcase, and I'd trade the things I'd won for like calculators, money, lunch money. What do you reckon?
I think you can definitely learn certain skills. You can learn how to, but I think there's an innate something in you which makes you entrepreneurial. Most people wouldn't think about trying to sell things for money or trying to spot a need, etc. They just kind of get on.
What do you think it is? What do you think entrepreneurship is?
I don't know. I think sometimes I think your environment can affect you. I think if you've been fortunate enough to have parents who've got their own businesses, I think there's a good chance you might be thinking in that kind of way. I don't know about you, I didn't. My dad was a doctor, my mum was a housewife, so I had no entrepreneurial influence on me. So I think there must have been something within me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember growing up, so had very humble sort of beginnings, like very modest lifestyle, and was always like, I want to get to a position where I don't have to worry about money and worry about money for my parents, my mum specifically, and that drove me. But I remember it not even being about money. The Pogs and Slammers thing and like the paper rounds, it wasn't really about the money. It was about the challenge, the graft. I had that financial drive until I remember I was sitting in my kitchen with my mum once, and she was like, "Why are you like breaking your back to do all this? Why are you doing free? Got free businesses, like doing this." And this is when I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to earn enough money so that I can give it to you. So you don't need money. And
touching, Dan. Touching. That's because they say you do more for other people you love than you will for yourself.
Definitely, without a doubt. And she turned around and said, "Well, I don't want your money." And I was like, for real? I spent like...
Isn't that the curse of entrepreneurs? Sometimes we're driven and we're trying to do it for other people, and the irony is that because we're so busy, we don't spend the time with the people we love.
Yeah, well, this has been my experience this year. It has been going all guns blazing. I mean, one of my personal objectives this year was to spend time with friends and family.
Yeah.
And I definitely spent more time with them. But now I've come to the end of our year and we're doing our Profit Entrepreneur presentations tomorrow. Looking back on the year, I've spent time with them, but I haven't invested time in my relationships. I've been present physically.
Yeah.
But at the whole time, my brain's somewhere else. I've been to socials and thinking, I really could do with not going to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not... Yeah, when you get a bit carried away with it, it's you can easily... Everything has a cost, doesn't it?
So I've just started a new coaching program that I'm a part of, and
as a delegate or
as a delegate, because I'm always investing in myself, and this is one of the things that it's mainly talking about, getting your time back and managing it. And one of the basic concepts, you have 3 types a day. You have a free day, which is where you do absolutely nothing to do with work. You have a focus day where it's speaking to clients, selling or delivering the service.
Is this Dan Sullivan's?
Dan Sullivan, yeah. Have you joined it as well, or do you know about it?
No, it's 25k Club, is it?
No, it's his different. If you go, that's Joe Polish. But if you go to Canada, Strategic Coach, his group's 25k. But you need to go to the lower ranks first. So I'm doing the low ranks at first.
Very good.
Because I need to learn the basics. And this idea of a free day, I did one last week, and I'm doing one again this week. Not even touching my phone. Not looking at social media and really trying to be... And I'm still thinking about business, but I'm really trying to be focused and be present. I think it's important. I haven't got it right yet. That's why I'm learning about it.
Well, I'm off next week. It's the first week-long holiday I've had in 2.5 years. Normally I do long weekends.
Yeah.
And my thing in my head is like, I'm already thinking, I can do that next week while I'm off. But it's like, actually, the purpose of being off is being off, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's sort of,
But isn't it like when you go away, you always have so much to do before you go away, and then when you come back, you catch up. And I think the key is getting better at delegation. And I've got a great team here in the PIN office, and I can only do all the things I do because of the team, but there's still stuff I do which I probably really shouldn't be doing, so I'm trying to get really strict with myself.
Well, that's going to be really good, and it might come onto one of my rounds. So if we put it back to your question of entrepreneurship,
absolutely, let's do that,
being born, what do you think?
I think there's definitely an element that's born in you.
Were you a born entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And what drove you in the early days? When was the first? What's the first memory of being an entrepreneur?
when
Or being
I went
entrepreneurial.
on a family holiday to France with some really good friends of
Yeah.
ours, we used to spend Christmas and everything together. Really good friends of ours, the Manleys. I remember John Manley trying to teach me French, right? And he would, and I didn't want to learn it. You know, he was really good trying to develop. And he said, oh, so we went to the bakery and he would get me go and order a load of croissants. He said, go in, order, I'll give you a franc. You know, so I was kind of bribed to learn things, I guess. And also I remember being bribed to swim across the pool, because I had a pool when I was young, it's quite nice, to learn how to swim as well.
With regards to that, so being motivated, things like that, do you think work ethic, in fact, one thing on the entrepreneur thing, being born, as you were speaking, I remember being a kid, like literally at my grandparents, I must have been like 4 or 5, and at Christmas I got the cardboard boxes, cut a hole out, and I was accepting people's debit cards in and putting sweets out the bottom. I was like, that there was no financial drive there or anything. That was just that, it's that thing of commerce, stuff like that. And with things like, are you born with entrepreneurship? Work ethic obviously comes very parallel to entrepreneurs. Do you think you're born with work ethic?
I was going to ask you a question about this, but I won't do it now. I'll ask another question. But I was going to ask about entitlement, and I think a lot of people expect everything for free. And my attitude has always been, if you do something, just do the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes your best may not be very good, but as long as you've done your best, you can sleep well at night.
Definitely.
And I remember one of the jobs I had when I was a kid, I was about 12 or 13. I was in the Scouts and we had a bobber job week where you have to go and raise money for the Scouts, right? I went to a local sweet shop and said, hey, do you want to? And they got me just rearrange the sweets. I did such a good job. She said, do you want to come back next week and have a job doing it? You know, just a couple of hours in the morning on a Saturday. I'd stock up the whole shelf for them. I'd take all the things, put them in plastic boxes instead of cardboard, you know, and I'd get a couple of quid and some chocolate, and it was pretty good, but it's because I've done such a good job.
Yeah.
And I put my heart and soul into it.
It's interesting you say that, because there's another spin on entitlement, and I actually listened to this morning, Jim Rowan this morning, when I was doing some work, and he talked, and I posted it on Facebook, and it said, the door opens to those who consistently knock, basically.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is you don't get things because you're entitled to it, you get them because you deserve them.
Yeah.
And I'm reflecting on our summer, and I look at all that I was doing, like looking at my presentation for the end of year presentations on Property Entrepreneur today and tomorrow. And I was thinking, I can't believe some of the things we've achieved this year. But what Jim Rohn was saying is you don't get it because you're entitled to it, you get it because you deserve it. And I look back on the year, like the Property Entrepreneur campaign, people look at that and they're like, you know, we sold 60 places in 5 days.
Yeah.
They didn't see the 4 months.
There was loads of work and prep.
Relentless work,
Yeah.
campaigns that didn't work, webinars that didn't sell, things that, you know, all that's, it was one of the hardest challenges I've done.
Yeah.
But then when it all comes together, it's like, do you deserve that outcome? So you absolutely do.
But you got motivated, you got focused, and just kicked ass.
You can only fail if you agree to give up. And it's like,
Yeah,
right, that
exactly.
didn't work, on to the next one, on to the next one. It's got,
And sometimes people think it's easy and think it's going to work, and you only see the successes.
yeah.
You know, you don't see the failures. People sometimes think about, say, oh, pins. How'd you do pin? You know, it's overnight success. 14 or 15 years in the making, right?
Well, you and I have been friends for quite a long time now, and I remember 5-6 years ago you said to me it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
I wrote an article in YPN magazine this month called "It Takes 10 Years to Become an Overnight Success," because people look at PPN now or PPN UK now and they're like, you know, it must be easy for you, blah blah blah. It's like, that's 10 years worth of work.
Exactly, yeah.
It compounds.
And sometimes I used to think that all you have to do is get bigger, make more money, and solve problems. You don't. The more successful you get, the bigger you just get bigger problems to solve.
Yeah. And I
Do
think,
you agree with that?
yeah, I do. I equally think, so I definitely agree with that. They're more significant, they're weightier, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot more risk with a lot of them. They can be more strategic. Equally, well, every level has another devil. You know, every time you step up in health, fitness, business, whatever, there's another challenge at that level. But I am very grateful for the things I don't have to do anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, as an entrepreneur, when you're doing the books, you know, obviously we train entrepreneurs and you're constantly looking at them thinking, I absolutely feel your pain. You know, they're answering the phone, they're doing the bookkeeping.
Well, you've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But a great quote I had from Brad Sugars, who's like a multi-millionaire. He his quote is, not hiring someone in your business is costing you a fortune.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people often look at the cost and don't realise the value of the time it frees up and focus on the really good.
We have it on the banner on stage. It says, when you start seeing your team are an investment, not an expense.
Yeah, exactly.
When you start to understand that investment buys you back time or buys you in revenue and stuff like that.